This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The color of true elation, pine on a summer's day. See, I've been waiting for you, waiting for you. Green, the color of true elation, pine on a summer's day. See, I've been waiting for you, waiting for you. I'm a winner, I'm no saint, I'm a sinner and away. Keep my secrets, clean my slate. Now you're saying it's all fake. Paint a picture, fit the shade. Masterpiece while you complain. Was a puppet, now I'm vain. Paint a picture, change my
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. I know it. We all talk about it. We all discuss it. We all go through the whole thing. Anyways, today is Thursday, September the 14th of 2023, day 256 of the year, and only 109 days left to go. I'm telling you, in no time, we're going to be down to uno. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration radio big is the way that the things go as we are talking. Anyways, we are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. That's kind of the way that the world goes in regards of what we have going on, so don't worry about that. Also, additionally, if you want to interact with the show, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That gets you moving and grooving inside of our system in regards of what's going on. So we talk about safety in the news and safety, kind of the way that it goes. And then we have a versionality of a main story that we discuss at some point. Sometimes people like the main story. Sometimes people don't like the main story. And that's okay, because that is the whole gig. So keep that in mind as we are talking. Outside of that, that's just kind of the way that the world goes. And then we move and groove. Yep, the way that we move and groove. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight? Because I want to say that that's going to be important for at least some of us.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so in taking a look around at what was trending, it went something like this. Inflation clobbered American families in 2022 at a 40-year high levels, and auto workers are inched towards targeted strikes. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. Hearts are breaking amid news that there will not be an NSYNC reunion. We'll talk about that. Drew Barrymore is out as the host of the National Book Foundation event, and Kim Kalsick is living the surreal life. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we'll talk about some things that are going on inside of the world of safety, because that is what we do around here. So I don't know where we should start today, because there's all kinds of stuff going on. Opposed to what we normally do, why don't we talk about this real quick? Because this is making the headlines right away. Okay, of course, it's talking about Hurricane Lee. So let's talk about that. Forecasters are predicting that Hurricane Lee will reach New England coast by Friday. In the meantime, the coastal North Carolina resident Nicole Merchant says it's important to keep aware of the conditions.
A lot of times they'll put up signs that'll let you know what the current wave conditions are and the beach conditions. And I think just being aware of that and aware of posted signs to know what the safety measures are is what's important.
So the National Hurricane Center says that Lee will likely still be a large and dangerous cyclone when it reaches the southeastern New England late Friday, and will then move over Maine and Atlantic Canada during the weekend. Hurricane and tropical storm warnings have been posted along the New England and Canadian coast, and southeastern Massachusetts is under a storm surge as of late Wednesday. Lee was about 900 miles south of Nantucket, moving northwards with winds and speeds of 105 miles per hour. So not something that we normally talk about, but hey, if you're in that area, we want to make sure that you are protectado, or protegido is really the word to say it. But with that being said, let's talk about some new stuff, because I do have some Mark Mayfield waiting in the wings to tell you exactly what is going on there. So why don't we go ahead and bring them in and get it moving and grooving for you. So here is the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Hurricane Lee is prompting hurricane and tropical storm watches on parts of the East Coast. The National Hurricane Center says hurricane conditions, heavy rainfall, and coastal flooding are possible in Maine this weekend. There's also potential for life-threatening storm surge flooding in Massachusetts. Lee remained a Category 2 storm as of late Wednesday night, packing maximum sustained winds of roughly 105 miles per hour. The White House is calling the impeachment inquiry into President Biden baseless.
It's a political stunt, and it is going after the president politically, not about the truth.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the Republican-led investigations have turned up no evidence showing Biden was involved in his son's foreign business dealings while vice president. She said Republicans are only trying to damage the president politically. Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the investigation will give the House the power to determine whether there was any wrongdoing by the president. President Biden's son is suing a former Trump staff member over his allegedly hacked laptop. Brian Shook reports.
In a federal court filing in Los Angeles, Hunter Biden claims that Garrick Ziegler illegally got into his laptop and stole information. That laptop became a focal point of Republican attacks on the Biden administration. Ziegler has not yet publicly commented on Wednesday's lawsuit. I'm Brian Shook.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked an order recently issued by New Mexico's governor that suspends the right to carry guns in public. Last week, Democrat Michelle Lujan Grisham signed an emergency order banning both concealed and open carry firearms in and around Albuquerque. During a hearing Wednesday, a judge granted a temporary restraining order, blocking enforcement of the ban until early October. And a police K-9 named Yoda is being credited with capturing escaped killer Danilo Cavalcante. A 2-week manhunt for the fugitive ended Wednesday morning when Cavalcante was spotted in a wooded area west of Philadelphia. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From FSN in London, I'm Nina Maria Potts with the latest world headlines. In Libya, the estimated death toll from a catastrophic flood when 2 dams burst is somewhere between 18,000 and 20,000 people dead. Ukrainian air forces say they shot down drones launched by Russia overnight across 4 regions. And more than 50 people are dead and around 40 injured following a fire in a 9-story apartment building in Vietnam's capital.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
The White House is defending plans to swap money and prisoners for Americans detained in Iran. Trey Thomas reports.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby argued the arrangement does not amount to a ransom payment.
The United States is pursuing an arrangement in which Iranian funds held in South Korea are moved to restricted accounts in Qatar where they would be available for humanitarian transactions only.
The move would give Tehran access to $6 billion of its own oil revenue the U.S. had frozen through sanctions. I'm Trey Thomas.
Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney says it's time for a new generation to run Congress.
I considered my age and the fact that at the end of a second term I would be in my mid-80s, and I think it's time for guys like me to get out of the way and have people in the next generation step forward.
Romney announced Wednesday he won't be seeking a second term next year, which would take him into his mid-80s. He also took a shot at Donald Trump and President Biden, saying it would be a great thing if they both stood aside and let their party pick someone in the next generation. Taiwan is tearing into Elon Musk after the billionaire said the democratically governed island might be, in Beijing's view, analogous to Hawaii or something like that, like an integral part of China that is arbitrarily not part of China. Taiwan's Minister of Foreign Affairs said late Wednesday on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, listen up, Taiwan is not part of the PRC and certainly not for sale. PRC is short for People's Republic of China, the communist nation ruled out of Beijing. And Ford CEO Jim Farley is batting back criticism by the head of the United Auto Workers Union that Ford isn't taking bargaining seriously ahead of a Thursday night strike deadline. UAW CEO Sean Fain made that charge last week. Farley said on Wednesday that Ford hasn't received a genuine counteroffer on Ford's latest proposal. The union has authorized a strike to begin at 11:59 p.m. Thursday if there's no agreement on a new contract. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so that's the greatest question, I guess, if you kind of think about it. Is it because I have a face for radio, or is it why are we streaming it? I never know the answer. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on as we are hanging and banging and doing the stuff that we get to do around here. No doubt about that, when mi amigos. So let's continue going and talking and moving and grooving, because, that's always an important stuff to go through. That's some important stuff to gander at. So let's talk about some more things that are inside of the shit list, because I think that's going to be important as we are talking. So the assets for the defunct crypto exchange FTX are headed to auction and will go towards the pool of funds of paying back the billions owed to creditors. The portfolio of holdings include more than $3 billion in cryptocurrencies, plus an expansive real estate portfolio of 38 properties in the Bahamas. Sale of cryptocurrency will be limited to $200 million a week, so that sudden influx of Bitcoin and other currencies don't cause the market to value to implode. So there you go, right there. Meanwhile, Sam Bankman-Fried has lost his last-ditch effort to get out of jail before the trial starts on October the 3rd. His lawyers argued that he had sufficient resources to clink the adequate to prepare, but the judge wasn't having it. So there you go. So maybe it's not all fun and games as one would normally think. So there you go, thinking about that one. Anyways, take a listen to this one. This one's coming out of Florida. A 72-year-old woman is being kicked out of her tree house that she has lived in for nearly 2 decades over a slew of code violations. Shawnee Chaser built the tree house complete with fully equipped kitchen in a large tree on a property that she had lived in for 17 years. While she enjoys one with nature, her neighbors reportedly did not like looking at the treehouse and reported that building code enforcement department back in 2015. The code enforcers deemed that the house was unsafe and said that it needed to be taken down or brought up to code. Choosing to ignore the orders, Chaser has been fined $40,000 in violations. Done with the fighting and fines, Chaser recently said that it will start the process of tearing down the place for where she plans to live. Chaser told CBS Miami that it will be another outdoorish home, but this time it will be up to code. So there you go. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting one. There is no doubt there in regards of how that goes. So what do you think? I mean, is it one of those things that you go, well, I mean, maybe it should have been to code all the time? Or do you go, well, it's one of those weird ones?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. A Census Bureau report shows that inflation rose 7.8% from 2021 to 2022, making it the biggest year-over-year change in cost of living since 1981. It gets worse. Real income and median earnings both dropped over 2% over the same period. In August, inflation rose about 3% and unemployment ticked up to 3.8%. This is according to the census.gov. So this is according to census.gov. So there you go. Car companies and the United Auto Workers have until midnight tonight to hash out a deal to avert a strike. A rep from the union said on Wednesday that UAW President Sean Fain says that the targeted strikes are planned at plants for General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis. Worth noting that the focus strikes mean that workers at other plants will remain on the job for the time being. Demands include 36% wage increase, a 32-hour work week, and traditional pensions restored, and regular cost of living adjustments. Ford CEO has recently said that he thinks the deal can be hammered out before the deadline. This is according to CNBC. So what do you think? No, seriously. I mean, so if we're talking right now, you are aware that it is, let's see, it's well, my time, it's 7:20 or 7:19 because it's about to be 7:20. So what do you think? Do you think that it's going to be one of those things that that can be ironed out before midnight tonight? Because that's going to be the fun one. Anyways, a small cruise ship called Ocean Explorer with more than 200 people on board has aground in Greenland with the help days away from the storm building nearby. Danish authorities suggest the ship miscalculated the tide levels when it made a port, leaving it stranded. In an official statement, the ship operator said that neither the boat nor the people aboard face any kind of danger. If the weather holds, they hope to arrive on Friday morning. So there you go. So let's do this because we tried it yesterday and we're going to try it again today because I think money does matter. So maybe that is what we talk about in this morning. We talk about money matters. So let's bring in Aaron Real with that. Take a listen.
President Biden will deliver a major economic speech in Maryland Thursday.
To lay out the very clean contrast between Bidenomics and the congressional Republicans' trickle-down economic plan.
Economic advisor Jared Bernstein told reporters that the president will lay out the contrast between his economic policies and trickle-down policies pushed by Republicans.
Instead of investing in the middle class, trickle-down, ship jobs overseas, hollowed out communities, and produce soaring deficits.
This comes after new data from the Labor Department shows inflation rose slightly last month. The consumer price index rose 0.6% in August and increased 3.7% over the last 12 months. New York state officials are considering granting asylum seekers New York-only work permits. Scott Pringle has more.
There's now proposed state legislation that would create a state-level worker permit program for those who have filed federal asylum seeker paperwork. That would bypass federal work authorization rules. Governor Kathy Hochul says it would get migrants working faster. White House officials tell reporters that workarounds are not something that we would encourage states to pursue. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
South Florida has a big problem with title fraud. Why is it so easy to falsify a deed and steal a home in South Florida? Karen Curtis explains.
Unfortunately, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world.
Broward County property appraiser Marty Kerr says the recent arrest of a man who tried to file a fake deed to steal a home of a deceased Tamarack woman highlights the property fraud problem in Florida.
They walk into the recording division in every county every single day and they file fake deeds on people's property. And then they take those deeds and they extort people for money or mortgage renters sell the property.
According to Kerr, the recording division for every Florida county has a ministerial duty to accept the document.
Under the law, they have to accept whatever documents filed with them, and they can't make sure it's accurate. They can't make sure that the notaries are correct. They have to accept it.
Fortunately, Broward County began a property owner alert program 2 years ago, which warns homeowners about any potential fraud. Karen Curtis, Miami.
With consumer and business news, Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, it can be magical, all right. No doubt about that. So take a listen to this real quick, because this is what we address next. So here we go. The Dow lost about 70 points to close at 34,575 on Wednesday. The S&P added about 5 points to close at 4,467. And the NASDAQ was up 39 points to close at 13,813. West Texas Intermediate closed at $88 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $92 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.84. Bitcoin ticked up 1.3% on Wednesday to trade at 26,180. There was more than 2,475 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 125 such cancellations. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for a $162 million jackpot, or a $77.8 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, I guess you have the opportunity to do so. So keep that in mind. as we are talking. So there you go. Anyways, I guess I'll talk about this because it has been making the rounds ever since the VMAs. After reuniting on the MTV VMAs, and Seeks fans were hoping for a reunion tour, residency, or a new album announcement, but none of these things will be happening. Insiders told TMZ, despite the fanfare around the recent reunion, there was no plans for the group to get back together except for the song that they worked on for the Trolls movie. Speaking of the VMAs, well, people seem to be excited about everything that was going on. So, what do you think? What do you think about it? Are you disappointed that there is no reunion? I mean, I think things will be good. I hope they don't do the Creed thing. Do you know what the Creed thing is when I say that? Where Creed, all of a sudden, everybody was expecting this announcement that they were going to reunite, and what they did was, hey, you can come and see us. We're going to be on a cruise for 3 days.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
So there you go, there you go, there you go. So some interesting stuff for sure, no doubt about that. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world, because these things are always important to talk about. Let's talk about this real quick. The Orangeburg School District is uniting the community for the National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Take a listen to this.
They are uniting the community by wearing turquoise. September is National Suicide Prevention Month. Watch Fox 57 News says during the month, community members, mental health advocates, survivors, and other groups come together to promote suicide prevention awareness. The school district is asking everyone in the district to wear turquoise on Wednesday, September 20th, to take the pledge for unity and awareness. The CDC says suicide is the second leading cause of death for people between the ages of 10 to 24 years old. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, call 988. I'm Tyreek Wynn.
Okay, thanks, Tyreek, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. Two sons are filing a lawsuit against Denver Health over the death of their father, Leroy Taylor, who passed away while in the Denver Detention Center last year. Derek Taylor says that his dad would still be alive if the medical staff had shown any concern about his well-being.
Animals in the care of animal shelters get better care than what my dad was provided. He didn't have to die, and then after he died, no one's taking accountability. What that's saying is that if you're incarcerated, you don't mean anything.
The 71-year-old was serving a 90 days for probation violation when he began telling the medical staff that he was having chest pains, vomiting, diarrhea, and other symptoms. In the week that he died, Taylor went to the medical department 5 times, including twice on the day of his death. Each time he was sent back to his cell by the medical personnel, who eventually found him dead in his bunk. Taylor's sister even tried to ask the staff to give him medical help, but deputies threatened to arrest her if she didn't leave the facility. Days before he died, Taylor called his public defender and begged for them to send him to the hospital, saying that he felt that he was dying. The lawsuit names one doctor and several nurses, claiming their negligence directly that led to Taylor's death. Attorney Seata Anderson says the negligence in this case is shocking.
Medical staff chose to ignore what everyone else saw, what the guards saw, what other prisoners saw, what Mr. Taylor expressly complained of, what everyone else saw, they just chose to ignore, and that's an issue, that's a problem.
So what do you think is going to happen here? Because I think that this might set some precedents in regards of some other things if you take a look at it, no doubt about that. What else do we have going on here? Family and friends of colleagues are saying goodbye to the fallen Chicago Fire Lieutenant, CFD Captain Anthony Massaro, who spoke at the funeral for Lieutenant Kevin Ward yesterday at the 4th Presbyterian Church in Chicago.
How else would you describe a man with an economics degree who worked at the Board of Trade, worked on a fishing boat in Alaska, worked as a ski instructor in Colorado, worked as a hotel chef, like scuba?
His ex-wife, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and CFD Commissioner Annette Nance Holt also paid tribute to Ward. He died late last month from suffering injuries that he suffered when he became trapped in a basement of a burning home near O'Hare Airport. Ward is the 3rd member of the department to die in the line of duty this year. So there you go, some things to talk about right there. In taking a look around, Adam Sandler is hitting the road for a comedy tour. Take a listen to this.
Had a heart attack. Nobody can be found.
Live Nation announced Wednesday that the I Missed You tour will feature more than 24 shows across North America. It'll begin October 12th in Vancouver and wrap up on December 12th in Denver. Tickets go on sale Friday. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so there you go. It'll be some interesting times for people who want to go see Adam Sandler out there. I guess let's talk about this one. Utah ranks as the happiest state in the U.S. Trey Thomas is going to fill us in.
That's according to a new study from Wallet Hub. The study considered 30 key metrics ranging from the depression rates and the share of adults feeling productive to income and the unemployment rate. Hawaii, Maryland, Minnesota, and New Jersey round out the top 5. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so do you think this is going to cause a mad rush of people moving over to Utah now? That's a question, of course. Anyways, police arrested a suspect on Wednesday evening on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Chancellor Kevin Guchardt says that it's sad and alarming that there have been 2 campus lockdowns in just more than 2 weeks because of an armed gunman.
This pains me as a member of this community now for over 28 years, and I'm committed to doing everything possible to maintain the safety of all those who work, learn, and live here at Carolina.
UNC was locked down late Wednesday afternoon after reports of an armed, dangerous man was on campus. Police arrested 27-year-old Michael Denante Harris. They say that he was wanted in connection with an incident at the UNC Chapel Hill campus earlier in the day. There were no reports of anyone being shot or injured. The lockdown just came 2 weeks after the campus was placed on lockdown after a student allegedly shot and killed a professor. UNC Chapel Hill Chancellor says that the support is available for students and faculty staff. Take a listen.
I hope that they'll access any resources that they may need as they're processing this. And as I said, we're going to do everything possible to reassure everyone that visits this campus, lives, learns, works here, that this is a safe place to be.
So there you go, some things to talk about as we are hanging out for sure. No doubt about that. United Auto Workers Union members are on strike against the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Their strike began at midnight yesterday morning as UAW wanted to eliminate the wage scale gap.
We want to be able to have people progress quicker to the top, and currently we're looking at about 25 years before people can actually get to the top of the wage scale.
That's Local 2145 President Janice Hillard. Most of the striking workers are from the customer service call center in Grand Rapids and Detroit. BCBS says that they are working to resolve these things, but some customers may experience longer phone wait times. In the meantime, UAW Local 2145 President Janice Hillard says that there are strikes against Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan.
Our largest population of our members are customer service reps, and that's in Detroit and also in Grand Rapids as well. So I think it's probably impacting those calls.
So there you go. Strikes seem to be going on in quite a few places, no doubt about that, as we are talking for sure and hanging out on this lovely, lovely morning. So let's continue hanging out and let's get into what we would deem our main story. So let's do that right now. No, seriously, let's do that right now. Right now. Can't even find it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as we hang out and talk about our main story and look into it, and listen, sometimes some of the stuff that we talk about is related to some things that are important, some things that are not important, some things that can be, considered, faux pas. But do you ever wake up and start heading to work, and you get to work and you start doing the work, and you turn around and you say, another day, same old shit? Think about it for a moment. I mean, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but do you go through that? Do you have that conversation with yourself going, seems like I've done this before. Seems like we've already kind of lived through this, and it just is the same thing over and over and over and over again. Same day or different day, same shit. I mean, take a look at it however you want. But here's my question. as you might contemplate and look at that, do you ever step back for a moment and go, hold on, the kind of work that I do can have an impact on someone's life? And what I mean there is, I mean, some people are going to go, well, hold on, doesn't all work have impact on somebody's life? Well, of course it does. But I'm talking about if you're having an off day, a day that things are not copacetic, couldn't this be a day that screws everything up for somebody else potentially? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking the question here because, listen, there are different levels of what you might do in your safety department. There are different levels of things that you might do altogether. This is why I asked this question. So how do you look at this? Or do you not have the day where the funk happens? Yeah, because that's what it is. It's the funk. Listen, there are some days that I wake up and I decide to bring my rear end to the studio and I start going through these things. And I start to wonder, how important are the things that are going on inside of the studio, or how important are the things that are going on inside of the world? Because, listen, we talk a little bit about everything. So it's a little bit difficult from time to time as the funk might happen, as the things that occur that are unexpected, the things that occur that are not the same. This is the reason why I mentioned this. It gets interesting from time to time when you go through that weird funk thing. It gets interesting from time to time when things don't go the way that you have them planned out as you start your day. I mean, think about this. There's so many different things to put into there as we are talking. I mean, I don't know what to say. Because, listen, different day, same old shit. Maybe it's not where we are going to sit here and go, oh, there's a separation when you go to work compared to when you're not working. Because, sometimes people have this whole thing where they think that you can have a different mindset depending on where you're at. I mean, I would love to say that's the case. I left work at the door. But most of the times, that's not what's happening. You know that. I know that. I mean, I would love to say, yeah, I live in this different reality where that is exactly as what occurs, but it's not the case. So think about that today, because I think we're going to have some time to do that. We're definitely going to have some time to think about these things. It gets weird. So how do you handle these situations? Maybe that's what I would love to hear about. If you want to tell us more about it, go to callinradio.com. I would love to hear it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. Currently 43 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. This right here, May May. Yeah, May May. The song's called Green. Yeah, she's doing her thing. We're doing our thing here on the Rated R Safety Show. By the way, this is hour number 1 of a 3-hour show that you can come and hang out and take a listen to. So just so you know, little fun stuff. You can give this little Green song a download on YouTube Music, Spotify, and Apple Music. So always some fun stuff. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay, so let's get into the move and the grooves of the things that we need to talk about, because there's still some more stuff to come your way. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. That's To Write Love on Her Arms. And that will get everything moving and grooving for you. TWLOHA.com. Once you get to the website, just click on the section that says Find Help. That will get everything to move for you. No doubt about that, as we are talking on this lovely Thursday. Listen, we all go through struggles, and it is better if we go out and talk to someone. No doubt about it. So let's continue on with some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's what we do around here. We talk about them, we look at them, we groove through them, and go from there. So let's take a look around real quick. I'm really starting to wonder how we ever got along before TikTok. A woman on the site revealed that her easy hack to get rid of migraine headaches with no side effects. In her video, she said that she had suffered from migraines forever and that she found a relief by simply soaking her feet in hot water. And apparently it works because Dr. Kunal Sood, an acute and chronic pain doctor from Maryland, reacted to her post saying, soaking your feet in hot water can relieve your aches without any of the side effects of medications. How? He explained that hot water helps dilate the blood vessels in your feet, which pulls blood from your head down to your feet. When that happens, the pressure of your head area is eased. The clip went viral with 3.1 million views, and people flooded with comments claiming that the trick worked for them as well. I'm pretty sure that a lot of teachers who are going to be delighted for this. All right, before TikTok, we watched YouTube and how-to videos. So I guess we were kind of all doing something back in the day in one way, shape, or form. Anyways, let's talk about reframing games. Maybe the stereotype of video game playing slackers who stays up all night smoking weed and eating caffeinated pasta. Yeah, because that's what we do. Who can't hold a job, never goes outside, is a bit harsh. Well, actually, that is harsh, especially in light of this. 3 in the 4 mobile gamers swear that video games have improved their lives. In a survey of 2,000 gamers in the U.S. shows that 67% of games are good for their problem-solving skills. 62% felt that gaming sharpens their critical thinking capabilities. 61% said that it helps them with the hand-eye coordination. Respondents also claimed that video games have helped them in cooperating with others, playing certain sports, and even driving. And perhaps most importantly, more than two-thirds said that their moods are positively impacted by playing video games. Of them, 51% said that more relaxed, 27% feel happier, and 19% feel sharp. Great, but if you need a video game to improve your driving, you shouldn't be driving. Weird that no one mentioned the fact that to thanks gaming that there'll be very low risk of skin cancer. I mean, just some things to think about. I mean, it's kind of weird where the gaming comes in and then other things kind of go out. Just some things to think about as we are talking. Anyways, let's take a look at some other stuff real quick. Take a listen to this. Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney says it's time for a new generation to run Congress.
I hope that we get a very strong contender and that it's someone who's a little younger than me.
Romney says that he announced Wednesday that he won't be seeking a second term next year, which would take him into his mid-80s. He said that he wants more young people to vote and get involved with the political process. Romney is enthusiastic about the possible candidates to take his seat in Utah. Political scientist Tim Chambliss says that eventually someone will have to emerge to represent the Republican Party with an ongoing division, something that that could also make run more enticing with a big name Democrat. Utah Senator Romney also said took a shot at Donald Trump and Biden for to follow his lead. Take a listen.
I think it'd be a great thing if both President Biden and former President Trump were to stand aside and let their respective party pick someone in the next generation.
So what do you think about this? I mean, let's be realistic. There is a age requirement for you to be able to run for president. I mean, at least a starting portion. But there is no end date. There is no end age. You can't be this age. So what do you think about that? I mean, here's the thing that I always say. Regardless of the candidates, you always need to vote because people are fighting for that freedom of yours to be able to go do that. So listen, I'm not saying that over the last few years has been the best choices out there. But you need to make a choice. And is ageism a thing for you? I mean, I don't know. I asked the question because I just don't know.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. Former Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith will serve 4 years of probation and 750 hours of community service. He pled guilty to several felonies related to embezzlement and resigned in March of 2020.
Never any money went to me. We gave money to churches that were fighting drug abuse, fighting homelessness, fighting domestic violence. I got prosecuted for that.
He will have to pay $25,000 to Macomb County in restitution. Also, Eric Smith is glad that his legal troubles are behind him.
I'm just happy that this is behind me and, my family can move on. After today, you'll never see me in another suit and tie. But now I deal with, building houses and redoing kitchens, and it's more physical but less stressful.
Okay, hold on. I'll never see you in a suit and tie again? I mean, that's kind of weird. That's a weird comment to make. But think about it. So you were the modern-day Robin Hood is what you're trying to say. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like what you're trying to say. Sounds like another pitfall.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the man accused of badly injuring the Allegan County Sheriff deputy who was trying to arrest him this week is now charged with attempted murder and 4 other felonies. Sheriff Frank Mayer says that the deputy is improving.
We've been updated regularly, and he is starting to show definitely some improvement over his condition that night.
Christopher Gerard was arraigned on Wednesday. Was arraigned on Wednesday. The court documents indicated that they said that they hoped that the deputy that he had hit in the back of the head and knocked out was dead as he was held. The taser had pointed onto the ground. The 35-year-old from Dorr says that he lived in the area his entire life and has not been in any legal trouble since serving 8 years in prison back in 2014. Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker says that the deputy remains hospitalized after being attacked earlier this week.
You always know that there is a risk involved in doing this work, but sometimes that risk comes so quick you don't even have time to prepare for it.
So a lot of stuff going on right there. With that being said, let's do this real quick. Let's go ahead and bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about what's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's story was submitted by Christopher. A teacher gave a balloon to every student who had to inflate it and write their name on it. Then they put them in the hallway. The teacher then mixed all the balloons up. The students were given 5 minutes to find their own balloon. Despite a hectic search, nobody found their balloon. At that point, the teacher told the students, take the first balloon that you find and hand it to the person whose name is written on it. Within a few minutes, everyone had their own balloon. The teacher said to the students, these balloons are like happiness. We'll never find it if everyone's looking for their own. But if we care about other people's happiness, we'll find ours too. May your day be filled with happiness. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
An abortion rights legal group is suing 3 states over laws restricting abortions. The Center for Reproductive Rights is suing Idaho, Oklahoma, and Tennessee on behalf of 8 women, 4 OBGYNs, and an Idaho Medical Association. They're saying the women were denied access to abortion care despite facing dangerous pregnancy complications. The lawsuits ask for state courts to put a hold on their abortion laws and to clarify medical emergency exceptions in their bans. Scammers posing as state health officials are targeting elderly folks in Utah. A caller claiming to be from the Utah Department of Health and Human Services tries to collect personal information, including Social Security and Medicare numbers, age, and full name. The caller might also be trying to sell products or services. The department is advising people who get such a call to hang up immediately. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee, for that information right there on what is going on. Take a listen to this. Medical experts are weighing in on the newly approved COVID-19 booster. UCSF Dr. Monica recommends getting the jab at least 4 to 6 months after the last infection or vaccine dose.
You need time for the immune cells to go into what's called your germinal centers. That spacing out the vaccines is best for optimal immune response.
Monica also adds the rate of the severe disease, hospitalization, and deaths have remained low despite the surge in cases. She says that COVID vaccinations are expected to start this week, while the flu vaccine is expected to be relevantly good match against the circulating strains of the virus. And then for the first time, the new shots is against the RSV are available as well. Dr. Monica also says the nation is now better equipped for the upcoming winter viruses.
And what's really new this year is that we have 2 RSV vaccines. The flu vaccine looks really well matched to what the current circulating flu strains are.
She also says the latest COVID booster rollout is going to look a little bit different than the previous years.
Unless you're uninsured, in which case the government has promised that they will provide them through pharmacies till September 2024. If you're on insurance, you're going to go and get it from your doctor's office, from your provider's office, and your insurance will pay for it now that the CDC has endorsed these vaccines.
Since the government no longer provides free COVID tests, Monica advises you to stock up.
So if you're older in those categories, would definitely stock up on tests so that you can test to see if you need to call your doctor and say, okay, I need Paxlovid because I just got COVID.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there for sure. Let's take a look at some things that happened back on this date. So as I take a look around, back in 1986, Nancy Reagan kicks off the Just Say No to Drugs campaign. The movement was geared towards children, encouraging them to reject experimenting with or using drugs and simply saying no. So just so you know, that happened back in 1986. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Emma Kinney turns 24, Shane Topp, 32. Logan Henderson, 34. Jimmy Butler, 34. Ashley Roberts, 42. Ron DeSantis, he turns 45 today. Daniel Peck, 45. Andrew Lincoln, 50. Nas turns 50. Kimberly Williams turns 52. Dan Cortez, from Melrose Place, turns 56. And Sam Neill turns 76 today, just so you know. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Cream-Filled Donut Day, National Hug Your Boss Day, Gobstoppers Day, National Eat a Hoagie Day, and National Coloring Day. So there you go. That's some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. If you need a random joke for today, well, I always have one of those. We need a 12-step group for compulsive talkers. They could call it On and On and On. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. If someone was making a movie about your life, who would play your parents? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A survey found that 1 in 7 people would end a new relationship if they were not compatible in this area. What is it? Food that they eat. Food that they eat. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we can't not do what we do around here. So listen, I'm going to tell you real quick. I was looking earlier today, less than 10 tickets available for the Conklin Conference. If you're still interested in actually taking a gander and coming down next week to good old Orlando, September the 27th through the 29th. safetyfm.io for more information if you're so inclined to take a look-see-ooksy. Anyways, if I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Whenever you're wrong, admit it. Whenever you're right, just shut up, because that will probably get you to better places than what you think. Think about it in that fashion. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Come and hang out with me, Radio Big, top of the hour, if you want to come and do that.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Keep my secret.